exciting meeting.
Lady Crystal, you know you're never alone when you're at Kiwanis Club of Kingston. You know that.
I know. My crew will join. All right.
Nice
Thank
to have
you.
you. And when your delegation get here, just put it in the chat and we will welcome them.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other club in Division 25? How about Division 24? Do we have any club in Division 24 with us this evening? Any club in Division 24? Okay, what about Division 23 Central? And you see, boy, because nobody talking to me this evening, I jump all the way to Division 23 Central. But let me continue anyway. Any club in Division 23 Central?
Yes.
All right.
Good evening.
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead, DP Barry.
I'm indeed happy to be here this evening. So far, I am being soloed. I'm expecting other members of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew to be in attendance. Looking forward to an excellent presentation from the very great man himself.
And so say all of us, DP Barry. So say all of us. And we know you say you're looking forward to it, but you know you're guaranteed an excellent presentation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
I would not have missed this for the world.
Neither would I. Hey, thanks for being with us, and I hope the others join soon.
Okay.
All right. Any other club in Division 23 Central? Okay, what about Division 23 East?
Good
Any
evening.
club?
DP Simone, Kiwanis Club of Papine. 4 of us are online at the moment, and we are looking forward to a guaranteed excellent presentation. Thank you for the invitation.
You said it, DP Simone. It is guaranteed, and we're so happy you could share it with us.
Thank you.
Any other club in 23 East? Okay, what about 23 West? Do we have any club in 23 West with us this afternoon?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening,
KC
DP.
Sunshine City Portmore is in the house, and we could not miss such an excellent presentation for tonight. So on behalf of our president, President Fred, and the members of the club, I bring you warm greetings. And I am joined by LGE Janet at the moment. I'm sure others will be putting on the running boots and coming. Amen. Thank you.
I am sure they are. As a matter of fact, you have just let a thought jump in my head. Maybe why some people aren't here yet is instead of driving, they're putting on the boots to run.
Of course.
And some of us don't remember we passed the running age. Thank you for joining us, you and your delegation, and we're always happy to have you. As you said, guaranteed to have a great evening.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have any SLPs with us this afternoon? And I don't know how the SLPs could be missing a presentation by the one and only Hubert Lawrence. Do we have any SLPs with us this evening? How about guests of Kiwanians? Do we have anyone who, is there any Kiwanian who invited anyone who is here this evening? Okay, what about other persons who you weren't invited by the Kiwanian, you're not a Kiwanian, but you just wanted to be with us this afternoon? Is there any?
Yes, I have a guest.
Go ahead, DP Stewart.
Yeah, he's Donald Smith, and he's also in the role of, let's say, communicating about sports. That's all I say now. So he's also in the audience. So welcome, Donald. Thank you for coming.
Okay, great, Mr. Smith. I'm glad to have you. And as always, you're always welcome. Hi, FA Aldit. I see your message in the chat. Thanks for being with us. Anyone else with us this afternoon who want to just let us know you're here? Okay. All right. Well, with that said, yes, I see I see FA Aldit, but we're glad you're here, and we know you wouldn't miss this occasion. So let me just hand it over back to President Junior. Thank you for being here. President Junior. He may be having some connectivity problem. I'm not seeing him on screen.
PD or PE rather, Newton, before you hand it over to President Junior, my guest Tamika is on. She's a licensed massage therapist from the States and my good friend. Okay. And she's looking forward to a exciting meeting.
It will be great. Did you say she's a massage therapist?
Yes, she is.
So some of us, after we have tried to do the sprint, we may need his company, his services.
Oh yeah, she's great. That's massage,
right.
Like myself.
Okay,
we're both massage therapists.
Okay, great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Tamika. Are you back on, President Junior?
Yeah, DP Newton.
Hi, DLG Willie.
We now have some key clubbers from Dunham Park Technical, St. Hugh's, and Kingston College.
It is great to hear that, DLG Willie, because I was wondering that they were going to be having one of the masters, true masters, on this evening, and they weren't here to hear what was happening. So I'm glad to hear they're on. Welcome, SLPs. President Junior?
May I care to continue? PD Newton.
So, I see him. He's back on.
Yes, I'm back on now. Thank you. Thank
back
you,
to you, President Junior.
Yes,
enjoy the evening, everyone.
Seem to be having a challenge, but I am on. Thank you again. Well, we just move to the next item to have a recognition of birthdays and anniversaries by our own PD.
Even. Thank you, President.
Thank you. I'm hearing you.
Good evening to my Kiwanian brethren and sistren. Okay, yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear, President. So I extended my welcome also to our guests, Kiwanians, and everyone who is on this meeting. We're now at 38 participants and climbing. Usually at this section of the meeting, I'm hoping everybody can hear and see me all right. We acknowledge or recognize birthdays and anniversaries of Kiwanians. And this week, that is the week of July 10th to the 17th, we have quite a few Kiwanian stalwarts who are celebrating special occasions. So first of all, our own DP Stewart Spencer, who is on the call, he celebrated his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to you, DP Stewart. Hope it went well. Also on the 12th of July, we have DP Irvin McNally, who celebrated his birthday. Director Errol Hamilton on the 13th of July. And LGD Desmond, who is also on this call, celebrates his birthday on the 15th of July. So special birthday greetings to LGD Desmond when it comes around, as well as the other Kiwanians. And I would also like to take this opportunity to ask if there are any of the participants, whether it's SLPs, Kiwanians, or guests who are also celebrating a birthday, marriage, birth of a child, or any special occasion that they'd like to share this time with us.
Thank you, PD Stephen.
You're welcome, sir. If there is none, then we're going to continue the program. and we look forward to your participation. Make sure that you ask questions, and if there's any aspect of the meeting that you missed, remember that the Kiwanis Club of Kingston also has a YouTube channel where we have archived all of the meetings. So if there's anything you want to revisit, be sure to check it out, and you'll be able to see a treasure trove of Kiwanian meetings that are there on our YouTube channel. Thank you all, and looking forward, like everyone else, to an engaging evening around this evening. Back to you, President. You hear me, President Junior? Back to you. I hear the muffled voice, muffled wind, so I know that you should be on.
While we're waiting on President Junior to come on, I want to say welcome to DP Earl. I can see that he went and put on his running clothes. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
President Junior?
All
right, while President Junior is waiting.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce.
While President Junior is waiting we're waiting on him to come back on. We want to just find out if there were any apologies for absence. I know of none. DLG Willie, do you have any apologies for absence?
We have an apology from Treasurer Orbill.
Okay. All right, so we'll note that. Okay, so now we go down to Kiwanis Education with LGD Desmond Batchelor.
Thank you, President-designate Newton. Kiwanis Education is on the club coach, Kiwanis club coach. Kiwanis club coach is assigned by the Lieutenant Governor to help new and existing clubs achieve their goals and improve their performance. The coach guides, it provides support, mentors the club leaders and members, and helps them develop good habits and best practices. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay, some functions.
Yeah, I did introduce. Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'm hearing you, DP Stewart.
Okay.
Some functions are monitors the progress of clubs' goals and distinguished club criteria, encourages the club membership committee to invite new people on an ongoing basis, and for clubs to schedule annual membership drives, recommends participation in divisional, district, and Kiwanis activities and events, monitors selection and transition of board members to ensure that incoming leaders participate in CLE training, assist in preparing incoming leaders for the new administrative year, encourages membership satisfaction and community needs surveys, encourages clubs to invite at least one new member by November and contribute to the Kiwanis Children Fund or a district foundation, support and guide the club's new projects, service projects, fundraising efforts, public relations, and partnership, both with Kiwanis clubs and also externally. And finally, seeks feedback from clubs and provide constructive suggestions for improvement. That's it for Kiwanis Education, President Junior.
President Junior, you're not back on?
No.
Okay, well, if President Junior is not on, I will just continue. So so we're at that point that we have all been waiting for, where we have our guest speaker come and you know, share his knowledge with us. So at this point, our moderator extraordinaire, DP Stewart Spencer, will introduce our guest speaker. DP Stewart.
Okay, thank you, T. Newton. Fellow Kiwanians and guests, I'm very happy to have with us. Well known, everybody knows who Hubert is. Well-known author, journalist, sports commentator, and so I'm not gonna do much more of an introduction for him, since you all know who we're talking about. But we're just gonna have a conversation this evening because I'm anxious to hear how he feels about what transpired at the National Stadium over the last couple of days. I also want to say that because 2 weeks ago we had Ricardo Chambers and we had Leighton Levy on, and they had presented what they thought was gonna happen. They were invited to contribute again this evening, but I'm gonna say Ricardo was just returning to Jamaica today, and he landed in Montego Bay, so he's not sure if he's gonna be able to make it. And Leighton is on the road, so he may or may not. But the focus is on Hubert because he's the man. He's the man in the seat. And I'd just like to say, welcome, Hubert. Very glad you could be with us this evening. And we look forward to what you can share with us. I think as a first go, what I'd like to ask you is, what were you most impressed with? Which performance were you most impressed with over the 4 days of the Jamaica National Championship? I think we could start there, and then we would have rolled into some other areas.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me back. I look forward to when we can meet in person in the future. And happy birthday, Sir Stewart. I noted the date just passed.
Yes,
for me, there were two big ones for the weekend. The obvious one is the 10-6-5 by Shericka Jackson. When you're up with Florence Griffith Joyner, Elaine Thompson, Shelley Fraser-Price, Carmelita Jetta, and Marion Jones, you're in a particular zone that is sub 10-7. That's not usual, that's not normal. And we're seeing, I think, the polish and shining of the sprinting product, Shericka Jackson. She is now not just a convert from the 400, but she's now a sprinter full-time. And she and Coach Francis, the Francis brothers, have polished up her start. So now she's up with the best starters at 40 meters and retains her strong acceleration and a big finish. And that gives you 10-6-5. And maybe there's more there. That's one. Number two, 17.68 in the triple jump by Jaden Hibbert. We know that he was working on stretching his run up from 12 strides, which he has used all season, to 14 strides. First jump, 13 meters and bits, not so good, but then gets it under control and comes out at 17.68. He's number one in the world at 18. In the papers today, he wants to inspire children from Annette Gardens to be great. That's brilliant. He's world number one, never been against the big guys before, but I asked him last week how he felt. He said he was excited, but didn't think he'd be overawed. So, Sir Stewart, those two performances are the ones that jumped out to me among a wide range of things that were the best of the trials over the 4 days.
Okay. And let me follow that up with asking, what were your biggest surprises?
The biggest surprise, the men's 100. That's the biggest surprise.
Yes,
in the event. I don't think anyone, certainly not me, had it on a sheet to put that the winner of the 100 would be Rohan Watson. The event itself, high quality. We saw in the heats a 300 sub 10 by Jamaican men. 300. It's a big number for a small country. I don't play Little But Talawa too much, but this one is tasty. Asafa 97, Bolt 52, Johan Blake 46. 3 men almost 200. But as a group together, Jamaica has 300 sub 10s. And now, 303 by now after the trials finished. So it's a big milestone, a surprise winner, a surprise second place, and maybe best of all, Oblique Seville being third. Hasn't run since before the Racers Grand Prix, had a hamstring injury. And somehow he and Coach Mills have gotten themselves onto the team with 5 weeks to go, where they can, and you saw him after the heats smiling because he realized that now the injury has healed and he is fine to run fast. So now he and Coach Mills have 5 weeks to work before they start at Budapest on August 19 to get really ready. So big surprise, the winner, big milestone 300, and really good that Seville, fourth last year, maybe a start away from a medal last year, a good start away from the medal. For him to be back in shape enough to run 10 flat twice in a couple of nights, with time to work, I thought that was the biggest surprise, the men's 100.
Would you have expected a team to have been in the top 3?
Well, yeah, he has not looked quite himself since that 989. Missed a meet right afterward. Had him on my sheet to make the team. Got to the semis the last time. NACAC 100 champion late in the year in the Bahamas. And so, yeah, I think everybody, and I listened a bit when we had Leighton and Ricardo on, everybody had him on their sheet to make the top 3. And so it's a surprise. He's young. He and his handlers will learn what works for him. But top 2 guys ran 9.9. And so if you're not on your game, if you're off on a big night, you will struggle. And that's what happened. But he's fourth. He's on the relay team. He's on the way to Budapest, and he will learn as he goes.
I was the other guy, Thompson, who
Shane Thompson. Wow. 991 in the heats. Big, powerful boy. Fast at Gavi Maceo. MVP UTEC took him on. They like him. They think of him as a second coming of Asafa Powell in terms of the physical power and bearing. So they call him bigger at Gavi Maceo and at Jamaica Track Club. And so he is someone who is part of the future. It's a pity he couldn't finish the assignment because that would add to how strong the team is. But I think we're looking at men's sprinting coming back where it has depth. Seville is just 22 or 23. Akeem Blake is younger than that. Raheem Ford ran at champs just before COVID. And Ron Watson is 21. York Castle, most people don't even know him. And so it is part of a revival. And the high school group is excellent. In Krume, Daly from Montego Bay, from Herbert Morrison. So Brian Lavelle is just out of school, and Edwin Allen did the double at champs last year. So for all of us who were anxious that Jamaica's presence in the sprints on the men's side, we reactivated. The troops are here.
Yeah, I read something about that came out of the MVP camp, and I want to get your comments on it, because it seems as if they said they pulled Thompson from the finals because he has been injury prone. Yeah. And they didn't want him to run more than one race. But they said because he has shown up at the trials, they think he's still eligible. But he didn't run the finals. But they got a medical exemption for him apparently not to run the finals. How could that work? But what do you think they're thinking there?
Remarkable that they could prepare the person for one race. Remarkable to me. We were in the room with Bruce James. We asked him as well. I don't know. The medical exemption really works if you're 1, 2, 3 in the world.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so I'm not sure how. What could happen is that the head coach of the team could name him to the relay pool, because he's one of the faster people in Jamaica at this time. But remarkable that he could come to one race to me.
But so you think he could still be eligible for the relay pool?
There have been times in Jamaica track history where persons who are injured are selected to the relay pool. In 2004, Tanner Lawrence couldn't run at the trials, but was named to the relay pool, and eventually was part of that team that won the gold medal in 2004. That famous one with Elaine Bailey taking Veronica's hand, putting
Okay.
clasping her hand around the baton and then sending her off to the gold medal. And so there is precedent for them naming someone who runs at the trials, doesn't finish the assignment, but is fast and recovers. So there's precedent for that, but I can't imagine them getting into the 100-meter team from that direction. Can't imagine that.
No, okay. I was a little surprised at a couple of no-shows. I mean, and there were a couple. There are different types of no-shows. There was a no-show where you didn't show up at all, like a Kerrika Hill. I don't know if she's injured. And then there were no-shows.
Let's stay with Kerrika Hill.
Right.
Kerrika falls and gets hurt at the Racers Grand Prix. Okay. And so even though she's entered, we were really didn't quite know if she would be recovered enough, like Seville, to run at the national championships. And it turned out that she couldn't run, and therefore her lane was empty. So she's injured and not recovered enough to run at the trials. That's one.
Okay. Then you had a Kemba Nelson who got through the preliminaries and didn't show for the semifinals.
Kemba was injured early in the season, recovered, and in the last meet before the nationals ran 11:18, which was a sign that she was on her way back to top speed. I felt when I heard that number early in June that she was just gonna miss the bus, not being recovered enough. And apparently a further injury has taken place. This is the very fast elite performance camp. And if they pull her out, it's because they can't take any chance with her getting hurt and damaging her future. So I guess a good decision.
Okay. Another thing that surprised me was Kevona Davis. Now, not the fact that she didn't feature more prominently, even in the 200. But what surprised me is that in the 200, there was another girl from Texas who figured prominently. Now, I don't remember seeing her on the Texas team in the NCAA. I don't know. I probably would not have known about her. Yeah. But she beats Kevona, and yet she isn't on the Texas relay team. So where did she come from? What did you know about her?
She went to Vaz Prep in Jamaica. Family migrated before she could get to high school here. Has grown up in America. Has moved between wanting to run for Jamaica and running for the United States, and I was put her a lot in with Jamaica, as she has a right to do. The relay team is also about fit. Kevona finished third in the NCAA champs at 200, was in the 100 final as well, so earned her spot there. But you know, that's how it goes with sport. Human behavior is hard to predict. This Lani Tavia Thomas girl maybe had something more to prove to herself, to her teammates, to coach, and came out and put up a big run at the trial. So that's why we run the races too. That's why we run the races.
Yeah, well, you know, we're glad to see her. She came third, right, in the 200?
She came third in the 200, and that's an event where I don't expect Shelly Fraser to run the event in the World Championship. She said last year, right, that was her last year running championship 200s. And of course, Sharika is the world champion. So Jamaica has 4 spots in that. So all the way down to Natalia White, who was on the world champs 4x1 team in 2019, the gold medal team. All of those ladies will find themselves in Budapest.
Good. Now, I want to touch a little bit on the hurdles. I think we have to show up ourselves again in the hurdles. Tell us what you think about the men first.
Whoa, big team. I think Broadbell is now up there with Holloway and Parchment as possible gold medalists there. The 12.94 is fast. That's the world leader. I saw his heat run, 13.06. Very, very compact. He's a very tall, when you stand near to him, Sir Stewart, he towers over you. So his movements are very precise. They've done something to his arm carry, so he keeps balance. He's very much like Maurice.
Is that Broadwell you're talking about?
Broadbell.
Yes.
Broadbell.
How tall is he?
He's about 6'4".
I didn't realize he was that tall. But then Parchment looks taller than him.
He and Parchment and Bolt are about the same. Bolt is 6'5", Parchment is 6'4", I think it is, and Broadbell is about the same height as Parchment. Very tall, legs up to his armpits, but very neat in his movements. And now at 12.94, he's joint with Parchment, number 2 Jamaica all time. I think he's a legit threat. I spoke with him this season. He knows that because he missed the World Champs final in Eugene, he has to fix that. It's good that you win the Commonwealth Games. It's good you run 12.99. Good you beat Parchment a couple of times after he got hurt at the World Championships. But now you have to fix that, go to the final, and come back with a medal. And that's what he's fixed on.
And his last 20 meters are amazing, usually.
Yeah,
That's
tall
where
boy,
he has got
flying, and he's fast as a sprinter.
Yes.
He was on a Penn Relays champion 4x1 team as a schoolboy. Still has that type of speed. Parchment, I understand, was not physically 100% leading into the trials. His target was to get to the team. He did that, and I think he also will be at sub 13 level when it comes to Budapest. He and Fitzcoleman can go back now, do the work, put on some polish and shine, and maybe that in that event, and we're not talking about medals yet, but in that event, Jamaica has 2 chances to medal.
Yeah, and the other part of that team is Orlando Bennett, who did very well. He did very well.
Twice in the semis. Semis 2019, semis 2022, knockout bronze last year, right near to Wignall on the all-time list for Jamaica, 13-18 for Bennett, 13-17 for Wignall. He has to get to the final to step up. But he looked good. He's working on speed at the races, as his same coach from Calabar, Craig Sewell, and they've been trying to match the speed to the technique so he can go faster. Good run by Bennett.
Interestingly, the person who came 7th was Dejour Russell, who, when I saw him, I said, well, he has shed a lot of weight. And that was one of his issues. But he's obviously not yet as, competitive. But I was at least glad to see him that he hasn't given up.
Watch that space, Stewart, and ladies and gentlemen, because he's with Fitzcoleman and Hansel Parchment. Had a chat with him. He has worked he is working against and with and trying to control his weight. He says it's been hard, but he's finally gotten on top of it. And I think that, Parchment is 33. He wants to keep running until Paris next year. It's great that you have young people like world youth champion Dejour Russell, 2017, coming through the ranks, watching how Parchment moves as a professional, as a man, and able to take from that example. He's with Fitzcoleman again, who is, a strong, gentle but strong guide, and I think he's going to be very good in the future. Dejour Russell.
Yes. Okay, what about the ladies? You tell me.
Sprint hurdles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sprint hurdles.
Yeah, 12.44 Megan Tapper. Little engine
that surprised me.
Little engine
I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, draw a line through the camps. That's elite performance, like Broadbell. Same coach, Ronaldo Walcott, who is a refiner, who is a polish and shiner, and has gotten her going. In the final 12.64, the win against them, when you convert it to 0 win, it's 12.44. So she's right there in that zone. Never has won a World Champs medal. Has been to the final 2019, semis last time in Eugene last year, but she's the only person for all the Bridget Foster and the Asina Clark and the Dylan. She's the only person with an Olympic medal in the 100 hurdles. So she has a special place in Jamaica track history. And I think at 29, she also wants more than she's gotten so far. And that drives her. She came home, made a change. She was training between Jamaica and Austria, made a change, joined Elite Performance, and now the work is paying off. 12.44, impressive.
Yeah. And a lot of people had a lot of thoughts about Akira. I'm glad she was right up there. But who did you who would you have picked for winning? We didn't.
I picked those three to win, and I picked one of the veterans to win. I think it's different for Akira. First time with the big girls, and I felt Megan was in better shape than Daniel Williams coming into the trials. And so the win by Megan is no surprise. The 12.44 in the semi slightly is, because that's well beyond what she's run in the past.
Yeah.
But it shows that the work they've been doing. No Brittany Anderson, she's hurt. No Kerika Hill, she's hurt. But it shows that the crew we have going to Budapest, Nugent has run 12.43, announced that she turned professional today, leaving Arkansas as a student athlete, still gonna train there. But it shows, I think, we have a team. Those two veterans have won medals at the high level. Williams bronze in 2019, plus the gold from 15. In the final last year as well, Williams top in the semi. But I think this is still a very strong team because it's an event in which we're very deep, women's sprint hurdle, very deep in the event.
Yeah.
And any group that gets selected, even if you miss Brittany Anderson, can still go to the championship and battle for medals.
Yes. I was thinking of let's take a look at the women's sprints. Because with the lane not figuring in the individual event. And I want to come back to that a little later. But do you think any of the other persons who have stepped up, for example, especially, I saw her name spelled S-H-A-S-H-A. Is that an error? I thought it would have been.
No, it's Sasha Lee. Yeah, it's Sasha Lee.
Sasha Lee, yeah, right.
Let me try and put it in perspective for you.
Sure.
Fourth place this year and last year, the same person, Brianna Williams. Last year, 10.94 personal best, fourth. This year, 11.01 season's best, fourth. So when you take Jackson out of that picture, this year's race is not as impressive or mass as last year.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question square on, the ladies who came second, third, Forbes and Morrison, will need to go faster to be in the picture at the World Championships. The numbers are in 10.7, Richardson 10.71, Talu, change coach, much smoother now, 10.75. And so if you want to be in with a chance to do another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the 100 2021, 1, 2, 3 in the 100 last year. If you want to do that, Forbes and Morrison have to go towards the 10.7s. So
yeah, that's I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
But how does that set up our relay team? What do you think?
The relay is different. The relay is teamwork. Jamaica does not practice that much, but in this case, the situation is quite good because only one of the prospective relay people, Sharika Jackson, is doing the double. So when the 100 is finished.
But Sasha Lee did run the 200 in the heat. Is she thinking about doubling?
I don't think she's gonna double.
Okay.
We'll see. But there is more time for the large body of the squad to practice relays after they recover from the 100 meters.
Right.
And of course, with the relay, the great Shellan Fraser-Price is there, who has run every single leg over her career.
Yes.
So the coaches now have that. And if she runs the 100 only, then she also becomes sort of captain of the 4x1 team and can help the team management organize. So she's run first leg, second leg, third leg, anchor leg. And the last time she ran the 100 only, Jamaica won the gold medal 2019. So I think even though the Americans are maybe a little faster than we are, woman for woman, we have a nice setup with Shellan Fraser-Price, 3 after the 100, sort of captain the 4x1 and carry it through. She ran heats and finals in Doha. I expect that she will likely volunteer to do that again if she doesn't run the 200, and that's great for Jamaica. I think that team is a strong team, not as fast as that team in 2021 when Elaine Thompson was 10.6, 21.5. You can't replace that.
Right.
But a nice rounded team with lots of good legs.
And more practice.
And hopefully if it works how I think it will, more practice. And that's what we fall down.
Yeah.
We don't practice, so it's all run on foot speed. And if you don't have that foot speed, then you're vulnerable.
Yeah. So moving from 3 girls doubling to hopefully one person doubling.
Just one.
It should free up some time. There was another performance. When you gave me the 2 that stood out for you, you mentioned, remind me the 2 you said.
My 2 were the 10.65 by Sharika Jackson and the 17.68 triple jump by Jaden Hibbert.
Okay. There's another one that hit me, which might not yet be podium quality yet. But that junior in the 400 hurdles. Sub 48. Tell us about him a little more. Because I read something where he did run at champs. I mean, what's the story there? It's like they pulled him, they didn't bother to use him at champs. I heard something. I don't know if I'm right.
He turned professional. This is Roshan Clark after the academic year 21-22.
Okay.
And so has operated since that time as a professional with the coach who coached him in high school, O'Keel Stewart.
Okay.
So he skipped his last year of champs eligibility, like the Clayton twins, like so many of them left and went to college or went pro. And so has been training full-time this year. 2 things about the number, 47.85. One, it equals a world junior record. That's important. Sean Burrell, an American at LSU now, did that a couple of years ago, equaled by Roshan Clark. And number 2, he's the 2nd Jamaican to break 48 seconds after Winthrop Graham. He's faster than Danny McFarlane, 48.00, faster than Jaheel Hyde, 48.03 last year in Eugene. And so that's real progress because only Winthrop, who retired long ago, up until on this week, had broken 48. And you have to be under 48 to be sort of in the gear. And of course, that event has just changed overnight.
Yeah.
And now if you don't run sub 47, you have no chance to medal. Yeah. So it's a crazy event, but Clark is tall, very fast, has run a personal best on the flat, 45.24. And because he's so young, you have to think that he has more scope to improve. I had a chat last night at table tennis with Neil Gardner, and he reckons that the young boy will improve technically as well as physical maturity. So Neil, of course, semis in 96 in the 4 hurdles, fantastic hurdler, knows what he's talking about, and he reckons that the young boy will improve with time. Still just 19 all of this year, 2023.
Okay. I was just looking at the list of persons just to see if any of those guys were able to get on. But okay, just one second. All right, that over there, got made it. But in terms of the women now in the 4, it's very unusual for well, let me just say who I'm talking about. Russell, she doubled.
She doubled.
Yeah, she came second in the flat 400. Right?
There was a time when the J3s required the 400 hurdler to run the flat 400, at least to the semis, to display intent to run on the 4x4.
Oh.
And so it may be that MVP Central, Think Tank Central, seeing that Jenny was so fit, she's a big part of the 4x4. She was on the team that won the World Indoor Gold Medal last year. She was in the last Olympic team at 4x4 as well. She's always run 4x4 for Jamaica, but for some reason she doubles, 4 races in 4 days, personal best at 4 hurdles, a big win in the 4, a big PR in the 400 flat. And now she leaves us. They've gone off to Europe yesterday, the MVP, looking like she's super fit and faster. She has to be faster because the top girls in the 4 hurdles, even with that fast American McLaughlin running the flat, Femke Ball, Holland, very fast on the flat. If you are to have any chance to run sub 53, sub 52.5 to assure yourself of a medal, then you have to be faster on the flat and still be able to hurdle well. So Russell has put her hand up. Maybe there's more to come. I think she's gonna need low 53, high 52 to medal, even when McLaughlin gone to the flat 400. And it may be that she's on her way to that, because that personal best at 400, 50.76, is a major improvement for her.
All right, I want to open it up a little bit now. So anyone who has any question, well, I have, since I invited Donald, I don't know if Smith, I suppose you know, I'm sure you know him, Stewart.
Very well. Very well.
Would you like to make a quick input, Donald? You're welcome to do so. And then those who have a question, just use the mechanism and put up your hands, and then we'll come to you.
Good evening, everyone. I concur with what Hubert has been saying, based on what we would have seen over the last, well, it's a second day after the championships now, last 4 or 5 days or so. You know, what stood out for me, in agreement with Hubert, Jadon Hibbert, 17.68. I think that his first jump, which was off rhythm, probably threw off him going even further. But, you know, he's in the Monaco Diamond League, so let's see what he does there. He's still a world leader at 17 meters and 87. And who knows, maybe he could challenge that national record of James Beckford shortly. We have been saying it since the start of the season. So let's see how that goes. And the last athlete that we mentioned, Rashawn Clark, well, prior to Geneve Russell, Rashawn Clark, the junior. For me, if I was to pick an athlete that I thought had the performance of the meet, that would be it. I think he has always been knocking on the door. Many persons actually wrote him off after what happened in Nairobi in 2021, when, you know, he kind of slowed up at the line and he was passed and didn't get to the finals. He would have gone back last year in Cali, won a bronze in the event, and has improved significantly over the 400 meters. He's actually the fastest junior in the flat four so far this season at 45.2. So, you know, with the increase in speed there, we probably should not have been surprised that he would have gone that fast. But below 48 seconds, as I said to Hubert yesterday, as it relates to another particular event, if we had written that on paper going into the championships, you know, it would have been 1 in a million shot for that to have happened. And it shows his improvement. But even to add to that particular event, the 400-meter hurdles on the men's side, we look at Jahil Hyde. Yes, he finished second in that. But what I want persons to understand as well is that his season is actually going in the right direction, because he would have run a season's best in that final. And having switched training camps this year, it's interesting to see how much better he'll get heading into the latter part of August, which is where the World Championships will take place. So even though the event is in quotes out of reach, where you have to run a sub 47 potentially to get on the medal podium, I still think that our top 2 athletes in that event on the men's side still have the potential to improve as well.
Which camp is he in now?
I know he's training with Gianna Woodruff's camp in Texas. I'm not sure the name of the camp, but he's in Texas, yes. So, and that's a decent set of athletes from that camp as well. But overall, I mean, it was a good championships. Yes, we'd have liked to see some athletes participating, like Stacey Ann Williams was our national leader in the 400, felt something in the semis, because she never looked herself in the semis. And when she never showed for the finals, you know, we definitely knew something was off. So that she felt some cramps. So she's out. Kerika Hill not showing up. That was always a question sign after the Raptors Grand Prix. Many persons thought it was just cramps. Clearly, it's much more serious than cramps, with her not reporting to the starter.
I was surprised I was surprised that she was actually injured, because I remember she ran up to this, I think it was the second hurdle, and didn't try to go over it.
Correct.
I don't, I like she, it's not like she fell. So I really didn't realize that she was, you know, she had actually sustained an injury. But I guess with hurdles, you know, just a change in not being able to do the flight, that can really upset you.
Certainly. And then in all of what happened, what transpired at the championships, there are three names that more question marks linger. And Akeem Bloomfield, and Nathan Allen, and an Amar McLeod. Non-starters, non-listers, because they weren't even on the start sheet to begin with. And persons are raising questions. These are some of our best talents in recent years, 400 and 100 meter hurdle, 110 meter hurdles. So that's still a worry, in my opinion, especially for Allen and Bloomfield, who I think have not really achieved what we think or know they should be achieving at this point. Bloomfield or only other runner below 44 seconds. The 400, plagued with injuries, not sure whether he's going to stick with the 4 or go with the 2 alone. I guess that's still up in the air for him. Nathan Allen, not sure what's transpiring with him. Had a few injury niggles after leaving Auburn. Was at MVP in Florida for a little time. Not sure what's happening there as well. And then Omar McLeod, you know, the book title, the Curious Case of Benjamin, but no one could say the Curious Case of Omar McLeod, because we're not sure what's transpiring with him, but we do hope that we are able to see those three guys sometime in the very near future. But I'll leave it at that for now. And again, thank you for having me on the panel.
Thanks for your contribution, Donald. Thank you very much. I see a question up now. I'm going to go to Marcel. Marcel, it's your time. Are you hearing me? Is he muted? Are you muted?
You're muted, Marcel.
Unmute, Marcel. Marcel, you're muted.
I am on DPs too.
Okay. You had a question?
Sorry. Yes, I'm on now. I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, now we're hearing you.
All right.
Yes, we're hearing you.
All right, good. Quick one, or a couple of things. I heard the 2 top performances first from Sir Hubert, but for me, and they were really good. The whole meet was really good. But I'd say top marks would have to be given for, we had a world record, or it's world equaling performance, world record equaling performance.
I don't remember any of that. Huh?
Yeah, that is the 47.85 by Young Clark.
The junior.
Right.
It's a world
It's a
under
junior
20 equaling performance.
Right. You know, I would have to, well, put it right up there, and probably would just put it at over the top, because it in fact is a world junior, but it's a world record.
There are a few more.
Go ahead, Hubert, and then we'll come back.
Yeah. The other thing of interest for me I want to mention is taking a close look at Shelley's performance. And I would say that in the 200, I watched her in the semis and she ran in that 200. And if you look at the race, I would say in the 200, you know, I mean, anybody who run the 200, you run that race from the word go, you fly out of the blocks, right? And to me, she won the first 100. I think she was besides Sasha Lee. And we're talking about up against the 10.65, and she, to me, was ahead at the first 100. It was Shelly-Ann, and that is what I was happy to see. And she, you know, she's better at the 100, of course, than the 200. But her performance in that, the first 100 of the 200, really was, I was happy to see it. And I think she was that performance, just seeing how she ran the first 100, told me that she's okay. And knowing that she knows what to do, just a few races between, they say it's 5 weeks, that she will be right there to defend her title. That's, you know, it's a couple of things I want to say.
You had wanted to come in when you were
Yeah,
in
absolutely. Sir Marcel, Shelley is the most successful 100-meter sprinter in history.
Yeah.
But at 200, she was world champion 10 years ago and second last year.
Yes.
Remember now, the race is won in 21.71. If you're older, that was the world record before Flojo.
Yes.
But she's a great starter and a great turn runner. And those virtues came out in the 200 meters. And of course, Sharika, who is coming back down from the 400, gets past and goes to win. But remember now, this is Shelley's first meet of the year.
Yes.
So for her to show 22.39 in the heats and 22.2 in the final, it shows that her base work is done and she's ready to sharpen up for another 5 weeks from now. So it's a good show of strength. And if you're the relay coach, you're seeing again where maybe Shelley could run lead off or backstretch because her top speed does not diminish the minute she comes off the curve. She's fast all the way down to 150, 160, 170 before Sharika, who is world champion there, number 2 all the time, gets past and takes care of business. So Shelley's performance must have, for me, comforted me that even though she's had some issues early in 2023, that she's on track towards a Shelley level performance in Budapest.
Exactly. That is why I mentioned it, because to me, it was the first we're seeing her. And when I heard about a knee injury at her age, believe me, I was saying, whoa. So to see that performance, I'm happy.
Okay. Thanks for that.
By the way, one quick thing. What I'm to the discuss, our top discuss.
Okay, let's come back to the discuss. We come back to the discuss. I'll raise it. Let's take another hand. President Robert, your turn. Robert, your turn. Okay, maybe you're not quite ready. All right. You want to say something about the discussion?
Good night.
Okay, Robert.
Good night.
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, good night.
All right.
Is this the same Hubert Lawrence who used to ride track and field and football?
Same one.
With David Hunt?
Same one.
Okay. I have to mention that. I remember that as a Meadowbrook student when you wrote and we beat up Jose Marti that year. I don't forget that till this day.
Was that football?
Yeah, man, I was football. I was in first form. Never forget that. Yeah, man, never forget that.
Good.
Just 2 questions. Me and DP Stewart talk regular, but I just have 2 simple questions. 800, 1.5, and a steeplechase. For ladies, do we have anybody there? And for men, 400 meter flat and our 4x4 teams.
Let's start with the 400.
Thank you.
When Sir Stewart asked me about the events that were the ones that jumped out, it left a number of them unattended. The 400 for men, 2 men at 44.5. Sean Bailey is little brother to Veronica Campbell Brown. Beat Kirani James this year at 44.43, fastest Jamaican on the year. He looks really solid, and I can see him making it through to the final in Budapest. And Antonio Watson, who was World Youth Champion 2017, Petersfield, is with the Racers Track Club, has sort of danced along the 100, 200, 400, has put his lot in with the 400 meters, and has now run 2 times under 45 seconds. I think Jamaica, the 3rd place man is Powell, was last year's national champion. I think they're the core. Behind them, Malik James King, who was part of the Calabar 4x4 team that ran 303.7 as schoolboys in 2018. Plus Roshan Clark, the 400-meter hurdler, and Jahil Hyde, who runs 4x4 for Jamaica all the time. A very solid 4x4 unit. Steeplechase, 800. We were making progress in the men's 800 up to last year, but this year there's been some injuries, some crashes in races, and we look away from the 8-ball this year. No one has a qualifying standard for 144.7, and based on what we saw at the Nationals, they're gonna need races with rabbits to try and get to the qualifying standard before the window closes on July 30. Women's steeplechase, Aisha Prout-Lair won the Commonwealth Games in 2018, was making progress, but has had some injuries, is running mainly the 1500 now, and we don't have anyone there, neither on the women's side nor on the men's side. Women's 800, which is 800 as well, Natoya Gould in the Nationals ran the 400 first, has run 51.7 this season, looks pretty fit, won the Nationals the day after the 400, 158.8, and has run 158.4 this season. The event is gonna go in low 156, her national record, 156.15. If she can get back there, who knows, maybe there's a medal for her, but certainly she'll be in the final again. But we're weak in those events you've talked about. Even the national record last year, 145.02, wouldn't make the qualifying standard this year because they've ramped it up to 144.7. So we're weak in the event. We've made some progress. Young Farquharson, formerly of Calabar, is now transferring from junior college to Texas A&M, known for what they've done at 800. The girl, I think, Moo, went to Texas A&M. So let's see if Farquharson, who is the fastest of all the young boys at 800, if he'll make the step up and put us back on the map at 800. Was
he the one who did the record in the 800 that was kept by Mel Whitfield? He was the one who had that record?
I'm not sure that reference you're talking about. He did break records in class 2 for Calabar and in class 1. And this year for South Plains ran a relay leg of 145.5. I was expecting him after that to get his personal best down to the 145s. Hasn't happened yet, but he's going to a college known for producing strong runners at 800. And I'm very optimistic.
Do you think that the Hungary, the country, do you think that the weather will play a part?
Check the weather. I checked the weather. It was in reference to a possible world record at 200. On that day, August 25th, the weather forecast is 28 degrees Celsius. So weather's gonna be fine.
Okay, well, that's my final question. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, President Robert. Okay, I don't see a hand up now, but let me throw this one in. In the World Championships, they have introduced the mixed relays. I think some people seem to think that the gold is a different color, as if, it's not another gold than on the medal table, it's just one. So I'm wondering, is it that we have not been strategic enough to select a team that could medal, and this year, I think where we have more options, do you think we can make a go of it and not just speak better? Well, I don't want to say a stepchild, but
yeah, I think
you understand the
Stewart, it's a good point. We got the silver in the first World Championship 2019. The difficulty with the mix is that it is right on top of the flat 400. And so people who think they're going to run well at the flat 400, let's take the Bahamas. Miller Weebo never runs a mixed relay. Neither Stephen Gardner. They won the mixed relay in the World Relays in the Bahamas with those people on the team. And so we're not the only people having the difficulty. But this year, we're quite deep between 400 and 400 meter hurdles, both men and women, that I think that we could make a run at a medal for the mixed relay without disturbing the people in the 400 flat too much. Geneve Russell, for example, with that double, the 4 hurdles is a couple days further down the program, might be able to run one race at mixed 4x4 and polish off what looks like a good team. Malik James King, Powell, last year's national 400 champion, doesn't have the qualifying standard yet for 400. That's 45 flat. On the girls' side, that girl Nikisha Price, Salmon, the 4 hurdler, unlucky to be 4th at 53.97 in the 4 hurdles flat, is in the 400 4x4 pool. So those persons who don't have duties individually early in the program, I think could come to the mixed relay and make a big difference. So the answer is yes. On my sheet for Budapest will be a medal for Jamaica at mixed relay 4x4.
Good. And then somebody raised a question about our discus throwers. You want to comment on them?
I do. I very much do. Let me go back in time. In 1989, my friend John Messerman and I started a track meet, the National Hurdles and Field Events Championships, devoted to giving a platform for those disciplines. It's been wonderful to watch. If you dream like me of a time when Jamaica can win 20 medals in the World Champs or the Olympic Games, 10 gold medals and 10 more, it means you're going to have to score in other events other than the 100, the 200, the 400, the sprint hurdles. You're going to need field event power. So that's very important. The discus now, Michael Vassell, Julian Robinson have come a long way. And we have 3 throwers in the top 10 in the world for the first time. It's brilliant. Dacus is the standard bearer. Schmeichel is right near to him, same sort of quality production. And Roger Stoner has sort of gotten past Chad Wright, who was part of the original 3 Musketeers, along with Jason Dads Morgan. All 3 have the standard for the World Championships. They finished 1, 2, 3 at nationals, Schmeichel, Stoner, Dacus, all over 68 meters this year. And there's another group of throwers, Kai Chang, World Junior Champion, this year's Penny College Champion, Brandon Lloyd, this year's Junior College National Champion, Ralford Munnings, World Junior Silver 2021. There's a whole group of young throwers who have grown up admiring Dacus, admiring Schmeichel, admiring Wright, and who are going to be able to continue when those guys reach the point where they need to be, where they're going to get caught. So I think it's healthy. I think they're going to go to Budapest and get to the final. The top guys are throwing 71. You can't follow distances in discus completely because the discus goes further when the field is open.
Yeah.
Because the air keeps the discus up more. When it's still in a more enclosed stadium, there's not as much air to keep the discus going, so the distance gets shorter. So it's all head to head. The top guys are going to meet now between our nationals and Budapest, and we'll see. But I think we're very healthy for this year, right through 2020, if no one else comes forward. In the nationals, Trevor Gunzel, Christopher Young throwers who just left high school, and of course, Brandon Lloyd, Clarendon College. He's 7'2", has just gone to Arizona State, who have the current US college champion. He's going to improve. Listen to the name, Brandon Lloyd.
He was in high school in Jamaica?
He was in high school in Jamaica. He never medaled, always in the final shot put discus from class 2 to class 1. And the Clarendon people tell me that he just kept on growing. They teach him the event at 6'8". He comes back at 6'10" the next year. They have to start all over again. He comes back at 7 foot tall. And now he's 7'2". I think he stopped growing upward. When you look at him, big guy, and the college coaches are going to love him. They're going to carve out of that body a monster. And maybe he's the guy who helps us push on from this current over.
Because height can help. Is it Stahl? Is that guy who I call him Clark Kent? He looks like Superman to me.
Yeah.
He has glasses, you know that one?
Clark Kent is Christian Che from Slovenia. He's the guy with the
yes, that's the one, right.
Daniel Stahl is the Olympic champion from 2021 from Sweden. And Gudzios from Lithuania was world champion before that. And Lithuania, as you know, has a long tradition of great discus throwers. Their great hero is Alekna. His son is now one of the best in the world. Mykolos Alekna of Lithuania. So it's competitive. There are good throwers in front of our guys for this year. But Dacus has gotten a silver, 2019. Very ambitious, wants to get back there. Schmeichel doesn't want to keep losing to his friend Dacus all his life. And Stoner, after admiring them as a schoolboy, he was at St. Jago looking up to them. He now feels like maybe it's time for him to get in contention. So it's a good team going to Budapest. And for the first time in the Nationals on the weekend, performances again, 3 men over 65, with Schmeichel winning 66.12, a bit of discus history at the trials.
I want to tell you something about this guy who did the shot put. I don't know him. He seems to be based abroad. A big guy, 21 feet. When last time we had a shot putter who has gone 20 meters rather. When last time we had a shot putter who has gone 21 meters?
Campbell. Went to Kingston College in Jamaica, graduated, went on a college scholarship to the States. This season has thrown several times over 21 meters. The 21-meter throwers in Jamaican history are Dorian Scott and, of course, O'Dane Richards. So this young boy is up now, rubbing shoulders with the two giants. Of course, Richards, world champs bronze, Commonwealth champion, Pan Am champion. It must be said, though, that the discus, the shot put, high level, begins at 22.50.
Yeah.
So the world record broken this year by Krauser. He's throwing on the weekend in Poland in the Diamond League. Has thrown 23.56. Our national record, 21.96. So our record is good, O'Dane Richards, but you can see that they're again cheap. There's distance ahead of us to go. But he's making progress. And that's valuable. And hopefully during his career, he can get into the 2250 region and contend with the best. So he's made progress.
Okay. All right. One thing I think it's about time I want to talk about Elaine. I was kind of hoping that Leighton might show up tonight. But let me put it this way. You saw what happened with Elaine. I want to ask you, what do you think what should be her next steps? Because she's too important a person in Jamaica's track and field for her to just, let's say, waste away, you know? So what do you think should be her next step? Granted,
let's look at the season first. 11-2-3 at Jamaica College a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then in the heats in the Nationals, 11:09. Then in the final, 11:06. So it could be taken that her season is going in the right direction, 2023. The worry that I had when I saw her at JC and heard her interview was that she would not have the physical condition to run a tournament. The 100-meter requirement is this: day one race at 100 meters, and then day two, with a quick turnaround, 2 hours. In the case of the Nationals, I think 3.5 hours this time, to come back and run another race to make the team. And that's what happened. She ran faster, but insufficient to make the top 3 and get into the 100 team. She could do 2 things for this season. Having finished out of the individual places, she could shut the season down. She has reported that she has injuries. She could shut the season down, let those injuries heal naturally, and come back fit and stronger for 2024. After all, she is a double Olympic champion, and next year is an Olympic year. She could do that. Should she go to Budapest to run the relay only? Maybe she should do that too, and continue being a team player. The bigger question is, how should she handle next year? My hope when the change was made, and after last season, when you could see that the fitness level wasn't there for her to run a tournament, she got more tired than others during the Eugene World Championships, was my opinion, was that this year, she and her coaching staff would add elements that would take away that problem. She has to decide whether she stays with her current coach, her husband, Darren, or if they agree together to give the coaching work to someone else. Who? In Jamaica. We've heard the recent news. Never say never. But no, I don't think MVP is the first choice right now, but never say never. Glenn Mills coaches mainly men in this track team, not often women. Maurice Wilson maybe could do the job. Puma is swept. That's O'Keel Stewart, who coaches the 47.85 guy. Roshan Clark and Taekwondo Tracy. I'm sure he could do a great job. Overseas, not far away, Florida, Lance Bowman, who coaches Shawnee Miller-Weibo and a bunch of others. And there are other good coaches around. Those would be who coached Veronica Campbell. Lance Bowman did. He's coaching Jeremy Richards from Trinidad and Tobago right now. And he's coaching Noah Lyles, who is a top-class sprinter. So those would be the names that jump to my mind if that's what they chose to do. But I think if she shuts the season down, there's time to think, time to repair. She's been under pressure, to let that pressure fade away from her. Sit down, she and her husband sit down and talk and work out things and see where to go. But the choices are change the coaching, change the coach, change the location, but be ready for 2024 because the Olympics is your baby.
Right. There's one club you didn't mention, and I think I know why. But you didn't mention Elite, and I think I understand why.
Shelley is at Elite. In every area of sport. There was a pair of discus throwers in the 1980s. One an American, one an English woman, one a Dutch woman at Arizona State. And the coach had to coach them at different times of day because being competitive had strained relations. So it's not something special about Jamaica. It's normal with people that if you're competing for the same space, it can get testy. And so, and who knows? Never say never.
Yeah.
It depends on, the dynamics of the personalities in those particular clubs. But never say never about people associating with each other because human behavior is unpredictable.
And then so I heard somebody mentioning Titans. That's where Brianna is.
Yeah.
I don't know the people. I'm not sure who's the coach there.
Greg Little, who was in the World Junior 4 hurdles final 2002. He's stats to Woolmans. He's been with MVP as an athlete and as a staff. Been with races for a while, formed his own club. And his second in command is Michael Frater, the Olympic 4x1 champion and world champion runner-up in the 100. So that's a nice club. They clearly understand speed. So we'll see. We'll see what she does. But the options are clear. Strengthen what you do there. Stay healthy. She has long running Achilles issues that she's managed to hold at bay. Stay healthy, and whoever the coach is, you keep strengthening by gathering knowledge or finding someone who was already accomplished. When she changed coaches in 2021, it really worried me because I felt she was exchanging proven high quality tuition for unproven tuition. It was a word for me back 2 years ago, and things have not gone well. So that has to be a consideration. But besides that, I hope that people will still love her and support her because this is a double Olympic champion. Because of Elaine. Because of Elaine.
Come and see her, Marcel. Come and see her.
We've been talking about the world records being in reach because she did something.
Yeah. I totally agree, that she's special. All right, Marcel, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, it was a quick on the same thing. I think the introduction of Elaine is perfectly right. She's a national treasure. And this may be unfair, but if to use Sir Hubert, right? I listen to you and I know you, like us, you see her as very special. And this might be putting you on the spot. If you were, let us be hypothetical, let's just imagine, you were brought into the space as a consultant, right? what would you say for this national treasure to do if you were to advise her? Put aside, the personality with the husband and so on.
It's kind of funny. I walked into a space yesterday and I got greeted with Hubert, you should coach Elaine, yesterday. So I opened my shoulders and used my big Clive Lloyd, but I hit that to the boundary.
Yeah.
Because it was offered sort of tongue-in-cheek, given the results. She has to consider her coaching options. I think that's fair, given the results that we see.
Yeah.
If it is, and Elaine is very private. If it is that she has had injuries, she had injuries at MVP before that held her back in 2016 and 2021. Now, when Shelley changed coaches, Shelley and Coach Walcott had the benefit of the COVID year where there was not major track and field. They had that chance to do the trial and error, do the experiments, learn how to talk to each other as coach and athlete. Coach Walcott also was an MVP UTech student, traveled a bit with the team. Elaine doesn't have that because of COVID. Because of COVID, she changes coaches in 2022 when there is a world championship. So they've had to learn how to work together in traffic of championship. And so
critical,
and so that's critical. But my advice would be to consider all the coaching options and to choose one. If they felt that, and again, if they felt that, and of course she's private, she's married to the guy, so she's not going to want your wife to defend you. But at the same time, if they sit down and see where the thing has not worked well, then they have to consider coaching options. I think that's fair. Is it that the existing coach is improving and you feel hopeful that next year will go well? That's one thing. If you feel you don't want to be 35 and wish you had, and you want to make a change now, then you can consider those options as well. I think if I were the consultant, that's what I'd have on the table at August 1, 2023.
Okay, I see another hand.
DP Stewart?
Yes.
DP Stewart?
Oh, yes. You want to take a extension?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring to your attention, DP Stewart, because I know you can't see the entire board that oh Lord, I just
DP Earler's next in line. Is that I'm seeing the hands. I
was going to tell you who is online. Go ahead. I'll Eric Barrett. I'll just bring to your attention that Eric Barrett is online and he may have a perspective.
Okay. Thank you. Earl, you can go now. You have a question.
Mike.
There, Earl?
I don't have much to say because I'm just, apart from the fact that the way Hubert put it, I don't even think the last question should have been asked him. He has done it so well. It's a pity that the person who is to hear it is most likely not online, because he has put it in the proper perspective. He has just not said the husband shouldn't coach the wife. But then when you see Sharika Ricketts and her husband thing, it must be a different level. And of course, it seems as if, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that Sharika's husband has a track record. I don't know about it.
You mentioned Shanika.
And it's a different thing altogether, but I'm saying the husband training the wife. So sometimes nobody sees, when you're in the forest, you can't see the woods from the trees or something like that.
So Spencer, we focus on Jamaica, but husbands coach wives all around the world.
All around, okay.
We mentioned think of overseas, Bobby Kersey, Coach Jackie Joyner Kersey, Olympic titles and world records in the heptathlon and the long jump as well. Some of the distance runners have husbands who are their coaches. I know Sir Stewart in the last meeting like this called this thing into question, but it's more what the coach can do, how we can steer, and of course can the couple compartmentalize business with normal life? And some people can do it. And at the end of the day, the family has to say, okay, the Olympics is your thing, it's next year. How are we going to approach it? And in all the areas, is our physio the best guy? Is our nutrition guy the best guy? Is our coach the best guy? So you have to look at all of these things and make decisions on the run that you think, based on info you have now, would redound to the best of the business. So
yes, well, like I said, I'm not, I suppose the way I said it, and I mean, many people have been saying it, what I am saying is that if somebody is not listening or, listening, getting information and listening to advice, they won't see it. And it does not, I don't get the impression that that is happening. But
I'm not sure.
I am hoping
for her. Let me say this. I
Yeah.
think this is the first time that Elaine has been in this place.
Yeah.
That she's not on an individual team.
Right.
I think it's that time, that would be a time for introspection for her and for her team and for her team.
Well said. Thank you. I saw Donald trying to make a statement before, but he waited.
I saw a comment in the chat because it showed up. I think it was, if I'm correct, it was Lyndon. He was mentioning a quote. I think Lance Bowman. I think Stewart did mention him as an option.
Yes, I did.
And but we don't know what. I don't know if going overseas, is really gonna be a good thing. It's fraught with so many uncertainties.
Well, if Jamaica has become a pressure center and you feel uncomfortable, sometimes it's valuable to take sabbatical, go somewhere else for a little while. And there are good coaches all over. And so remember now, we saw Noah has run 19.67 an hour track at the Racers Grand Prix. He put Veronica Campbell to 2 Olympic gold medals. So that's why I put his name in the ring.
We're gonna have to wrap shortly. I think we will. We've exhausted a lot. But let me just say this: when I think of Bobby Kersey, one thing has struck me. He has put, I think, new in 1500 in the trials, in the US trials, and it struck me. What I've heard from some of the people is that he's always pushing people into distances that they're not accustomed to. And I've always felt that is something that Elaine needed, because she has never been able to run a 400 under what, 55? I don't think she has ever run under 55 in a 400. And I think but yet she was able to run 21.53 in the 200. And, I find that kind of amazing, but I would love to see her doing the kind of longer distances to sharpen up, So I just thought somebody with that kind of a perspective who will push you into a longer distance, that could be something.
I think the Achilles problems affect how coaches can deploy her, because there are days she can't train because of the pain. Last year she had a shoulder injury, a rotator cuff injury, and so the number one thing for Elaine is to keep her healthy much more of the time. So if she can stay healthy, then she can train at more quality. That's what they found a way to do that in 2021, and you saw the results. So she needs to be healthy enough so she can do quality background work and something they call speed endurance. Can you run faster for longer? Can you run fast repeatedly, as in a tournament? So if she can find a way to get that mix in training, then we can see good things from her again. Her season, 2-3, 11:09, 11:06, moving in the right direction.
And she did say at JC that she wasn't feeling any pain at that time.
Which is important.
Yeah, which is important. Well, Hubert, I think we have to bring it to a close. I mean, we could go on for at least another few minutes, but I think this is a good time, and I don't see any hands up. So I don't think I'm denying anyone the option to ask a question. I don't know if anybody had put questions in the chat, but it's not so easy for me to monitor the chat when I'm doing this. So I'm gonna ask Marcel to do the thank you. It really has been a wonderful evening of discussion. So Marcel, over to you.
Thank you, DP Stewart. And of course, it is a pleasure, immense pleasure for me on behalf of everybody, the 55 plus in this chat here, to say a big thank you. And thank you is not good enough. I think what we have been treated to this evening proves, or rather confirmed, that when it comes to track and field, on the track, we are world beaters, but also in the stands. And when it comes to commentaries and when it comes to previews and discussions, we are also world beaters. And we probably have the best in the world here tonight. And I'm not saying that tongue in cheek, really mean it, because the depth of knowledge locally and internationally that we heard this evening, you know, the expressions, the details that were there. It reminds me, years ago, some people might know the name Jimmy Carnegie. Oh. And I knew him well. I used to describe him as the encyclopedia, because like Sir Hubert, without any notes and without anything in front of him, they could call out, he could, and Sir Hubert even more, call out names and coaches and times and events and experiences. And also what was so impressive was going beyond just the athletes, you know, what happens with them in terms of the coaches and their experiences and so on, able to put things in perspective that a lot of us would not know. And it went even further, you know, when a question was asked and Sir Hubert could tell us about what the weather was going to be on August 25th. I don't think you can get better than that. I mean, for me, that says it all. In terms of the research and the knowledge and the ability to put things effectively, simply, but effectively, so that all who are hearing can understand. Even persons who may not appreciate the sport would have been in awe just listening to you. So we really appreciate it. I mean, Brandon Lloyd, you could tell us how tall he was a year ago and how he grew to 7'2", and you can say that he has stopped growing. I mean, you're probably right. Those kind of details you don't get. So more than encyclopedia, I'd say you are the verbal Google. If we need anything about athletics, we don't have to Google, just take up the number and call you and we'll have it all. So this evening's presentation by you was superb. The 100 meters is the blue ribbon event. This evening, your presentation was the blue ribbon presentation. And we really appreciate it. You covered all the areas, put things, as I said, in their true perspective, not just locally, but internationally and globally. And we really, really appreciate it. We could have gone all night, of course, and not be bored. But the best of things have to come to an end.
And let me just come in. Due to a technical problem, I was unable to prepare Hubert's certificate of appreciation, but I'm going to solve that problem shortly, you know, but I just want to apologize for that.
Okay, so you will be getting your certificate. Thank you, sir.
Thank and I think we can
have it probably after the Olympics, after the World Champs. We probably have to run part 3.
Okay, thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, is President Junior back on? Go ahead, it's President Newton. Maybe you should take it because I don't know if President Junior was able to reconnect.
Okay, I know he was on, but not hearing him. Okay, so that was great. I mean, and I don't need to add to that. So now we are going to call on our Sergeant at Arms, Kiwanian Zuri Johnson, to come and do his thing. Are you online, Kiwanian Zuri?
He's not online. DP
Okay.
Newton. So
Did-
just
did-
the blanket fine.
Did he deputize?
No.
Okay. Well, in that, then we, as DLG Willie said, we'll just ask for a blanket contribution tonight from all members of Kiwanis Club of Kingston of $300. All right. So we'll now move to notice and announcement and interclubbing opportunities by DLG William Riso.
Thank you. President-designate Newton. Before I give you the notice and announcements, let me mention a particular significance. Tomorrow is distinguished President Irvin McNally's 90th birthday. 90. We probably have to look at some way how we can celebrate with him. I'm not sure, but we'll put our thinking caps on. President Newton, having had a very successful Bobby Fry, we now turn our attention to the benefit performance in the National Dance Theatre Company and the Little Theatre on Saturday, July 29th. Cost of tickets is $3,000. We have been assigned 450 tickets by the National Dance Theatre Company. What I have decided to do in discussions with the director and chairman of fundraising, that we would invite other Kiwanis clubs to participate in our fundraising effort. And we have commitments from New Kingston, Cyber Connect, Young Professionals, St. Andrew, Worthington, Nation Builders. Of course, these are all clubs sponsored by Kiwanis Club of Kingston. So members, remember, Saturday, July 29th, National Dance Theatre performance. This year is going to be, I've been advised by the artistic director that they're doing a special tribute to Jimmy Cliff, who, as we all know, deceased early on this year. Tickets are available. I will send out a copy of the ticket and the flyer early tomorrow morning, so you can all have a look at it. But in respect to the fish fry, this again, I'm making a plea to members who still have collections to try and make their deposit as soon as possible, as we still have some funds to settle with the caterers, and I don't want this to extend into a third week. Insofar as other notices mentioned, the All Island Convention is on Sunday, July 30th at the Golfview Hotel in Mandeville. That registration now begins at 9 o'clock. It's $5,000. There is a bus being arranged. On the all-round trip is $1,500. That's going to leave a venue to be decided at 7 o'clock. Other activities we need to look at is Kiwanis Club of West St. Andrew will be having their fete at Footprints Cafe on Saturday evening, starting at 8 p.m. Cost $1,500. That takes care of all notices and announcements. President Newton is still for interclubbing opportunity. I will circulate the activities for the remainder of the week in the morning. Thank you. Also, you want to invite any other visiting clubs that have any notices and announcements that they can do so now. Thank you.
Thank you, DLG Willie. And at this point, I'd like to invite any other club that has any announcement that they would like to make to go ahead and do so now.
Good night.
Good night, President Robert.
Yeah, just one announcement. Next week, Wednesday, West St. Andrew will be having a guest speaker night. And our guest speaker night will be on cybercrime. Earlier, we had a guest speaker night in March, so the person will be coming back, and it's at JEF, Jamaica Employees Federation, time 7 p.m.
Okay, so that's face to face.
Yes, man. We're going totally face to face.
Okay, good.
Yeah, man.
Good. Should be a good one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other announcements? Well, before I invite DP Stewart to give us the thoughts of the week, I just want to support DLG Willie in that call to support us on that our NDTC performance. It is a thing of quality. It's you just can't lose. At $3,000 to sit and see an NDTC performance is really gonna be worth your money. And I see I'm looking on the screen now. I see DLG Gertlin is already ready to attend. I mean, that's how you look when you go to those performances. So those who don't know how, just look at DLG Gertlin. That's how we want you to dress when you come to that performance. And we hope to see everybody there. Okay, so DP Stewart will now give us the thoughts for the week.
Okay, thank you, Newton. I hadn't actually done my work on this, but quickly I was able to find two that I think are kind of appropriate. One is on love, one touches on love, and the other one touches on unforgiveness. So you might understand why that one might be so relevant at this time. The first one, people need loving most when they deserve it least. That's my first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is unforgiveness or bitterness or hatred is an acid that does more damage in the vessel in which it's stored than on the victim on which it is poured. And I just thought that was kind of timely. Back to you for that.
Thank you, DP Stewart. Really good as usual. Okay, I think we have covered all we intended to tonight and some more. It has been a great evening. It was great spending it with everybody here. And so at this time, it's now what, 8:54. So we had a good time. I'm going to ask each of you to raise your glass or cup or whatever you have and raise a toast to Kiwanis International, Jamaica Land We Love. And at this point, at 8:54, this meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated. Thank you all for coming. Those of you who are traveling, safe journey home. Those of you who are not traveling, see you again next week, Tuesday, same time, same place.